my channel. I'm the author of Alternative Approach. In here, I teach you the mentality behind transsexuality. I tell you how it works, why it works. I teach you the purpose. I teach you the motive behind the action. Mind you, every action has a purpose, an intent, a goal, a reason, etc. So I'm gonna make my book public for free. I'm gonna post it here online. I will read it and kind of explain it to you. I'm also gonna just leave it steady so you can read on your own. You can just mute it and just read it on your own. Let's get started. Oh, by the way, whoever wants a hard copy, I can print it. Be mindful of the shipping that I need to do, the materials that I'm using. I'll sign it for you if you wanted me to put your name in here. Welcome. This book will bring you a very competitive theory for conclusion to the origins of transgender mentality in people of all ages, including kids and adults as well. This book will firmly state, explain, and confirm that being a transgender is only a state of mind. It's all up here. This book will show you that the belief of being in the wrong body or being born in the wrong gender emerges or comes from the way in the mind a person can have access to possessing and or having around value of the opposite gender in a different way. Mentally and physically, a person can find ways to satisfy their attraction or desires for the value they see, seek, like, and will want to have or possess in an alternative way. Foundation, the plot. It is a fact no one can deny. All over the world, people of all places, colors, backgrounds, and ethnicities like to feel satisfaction. The thing is, there are many different ways to feel satisfaction. Satisfaction can come from or be extracted through a variety of sources. There are a lot of objects, behaviors, actions, reactions, situations, etc. that can be used as a source of satisfaction. This is true regardless of those objects, things, actions, reactions, or behaviors being right, considered good, beneficial, safe, or correct at the end. Example of this is when we want to get to a destination. Whether a destination is to get to somewhere as to a place like going to another country, or whether our destination is more of a goal as in becoming a somebody. Destination / somewhere. People migrating to the USA. Some people come to the USA through visa, some through the desert, some travel with fake documents, other got smuggled in a car, etc. Destination / somebody. Someone made a name for himself, became a somebody, getting rich through becoming part of the mafia. Some other people will become a somebody through a profitable revolutionary invention. Some others will make it through winning the lottery, becoming musicians, world champions, etc. There's more than one way to get to our desired destination, even though not all take the same path or not all use the same approach. How we get to our destination is what makes our journey, experiences, preferences, opinions, and builds our character differently. The approach we choose to get to our destination is what makes us relate to others that have taken the same path or approach. This is why there are, and will always be groups of people with the same, similar, and different ideals, stance, beliefs, religion, and even sexual preferences. The different the path, the different the story. Even when the outcome is similar or the same. Get excited, the true nature of transsexuality is finally here. Turns out that transsexuality is actually based on heterosexuality. But how can transsexuality be based on heterosexuality? Because in order to absorb sexual value found in the opposite gender through transsexuality, a heterosexual person needs to bring a second entity into and onto him herself, which allows him or her to enjoy in the background and by using their modified physical appearance the opposite gender. A second entity is the mentally fabricated fictitious opposite gender, which has the duty or purpose to physically, mentally, and sexually satisfy the main heterosexual host. Transsexuality allows a heterosexual person enjoy the opposite gender mentally, physically, and sexually without having the real opposite gender present and or participating to do so. Transsexuality is based on heterosexuality because it uses both genders to interact one with the other in order to create the physical, sexual, and at times emotional satisfying heterosexual feeling scenario. Deeper explanation is within the next following 6 chapters. Please enjoy with caution. By the time you are done reading this book, make sure to come back to page 5 and 6 to check your understanding of these 2 pages. By then, these pages should be much more clear. So Once we're done reading this book, pages 5 and 6 will make a lot more sense. Okay, we have chapter 1, what is being a transgender. By definition of the dictionary, being a transgender is, number 1, identifying as or having undergone medical treatment to become a member of the opposite gender. Number 2, having changed gender identity from male to female or from female to male. Number 3, not identifying with cultural conventional gender roles and categories of male or female. Having changed gender identity from male to female or female to male, or having some other gender identity. Number 4, involving partial or full reversal of gender. Change your socks inside out and you have new socks, type of thing. Being a transgender is derived from a mental confusion regarding gender identity and or what is now more commonly known as gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria, by definition of the dictionary. Number 1, a persistent unease with having the physical characteristics of one's gender, accompanied by strong identification with the opposite gender and desire to live as or to become a member of the opposite gender. Number 2, a profound and persistent unhappiness related to one's physical sex. According to research, not all transgender people go through gender dysphoria. Now, this is not part of the dictionary, this is me. This is hard to believe, as otherwise a person would not be confused towards their gender to begin with. These statements rather should be, not everybody go through the same levels of gender identity or gender dysphoria. Some people have it more mild, as they are easier to give in to their confusion, and others challenge them more. Therefore, their gender dysphoria is much more noticeable. If becoming a transgender derives from a mental confusion or gender dysphoria, where does the confusion comes from? Where does the conclusion of becoming a transgender begins or merges? And most importantly, what is the purpose of transsexuality? Every object, every design, every matter around us has a purpose or a utility, therefore value. If certain matter, design, or object cannot offer value through utility or positive benefit at some point in time or another, it is non-existent or it is usually destroyed. Behaviors, actions, and reactions are no different. If they don't offer a benefit, utility, or purpose, we just don't engage in them or do them at all. Definition of mental confusion. Mental confusion merges from setting mental pursuit to attraction the wrong way by finding an alternative way to absorb value found. This way, get to benefit from the action, reaction, or behavior, therefore a better option or conclusion. Confusion settles in someone's mind after mistaking something easier or more convenient as better, therefore true, right, or correct. Definition of mental conclusion. From the thought of making wrong right, a way to fix, solve, and or justify not leaving behind an abnormal behavior, simply because doing so means to lose the chance to absorb sexual value that can and will lead to satisfaction. Naturally, we all seek, desire, need satisfaction to feel better and even become happy. This is the reason the result of abnormal, immoral, and or bad behavior can be welcomed by some yet rejected by others. Because at the end of the day, a beneficial result from an action, reaction, behavior, right or wrong, can offer to satisfy our natural, normal needs and desires. So we can get what we want, we can satisfy our needs or desires even when the source is not correct. Therefore, based on the results, the behavior gets passed, checked as a possibility, and it can be perceived as right or correct. I have a disclaimer here. It goes like this: are people always aware of their abnormal sexual behavior being wrong? And the answer is not always. People many times are rather aware of the benefit of the outcome of those abnormal sexual behaviors, can seem to get past the benefit part due to their sexual drive coming from their sexual instincts and or natural sexual biology, pushing them hard to pursue and or explore deeper anything related to sexuality, including abnormal sexual behaviors. This means that many people are missing vital points and information that could allow them to truly and freely correctly decide. Many people are willingly and unwillingly engaging on abnormal, bad, or immoral sexual behaviors simply because they misunderstand the result of their actions. Therefore, confusion settles in, or misinterpret normal anatomy, physical reactions, linking the sensations to the wrong individual. It makes me feel good. However, many times, although able to see beyond their benefit and able to conclude something being wrong or off, they'll still welcome the outcome regardless of source. These are the people that just don't care if the world burns. Now it comes the mentality purpose. The main purpose of transsexuality is to be able to get without actually getting. That way, being able to satisfy their sexual drive through an alternative form. Deeper explanation is ahead. Being a transgender is a belief that someone can adjust or can make sense in their confusion transitioning. Being a transgender is a belief that one can turn or make their wrong conclusion right through gender reassignment. Being a transgender is the belief to be able to capitalize on sexual and emotional value in an alternative way. In other words, a transgender person hopes to be able to turn their confusion, what we call imagination, at instances we call it fantasies, into a reality, or the thought of a problem in their mental conclusion into a solution, by modifying external appearance to match their mental confusion and or choice for behavior with reality, so they can become true, therefore right, so their behaviors can make sense, therefore not feel guilt, so they can absorb sexual value rather than just let it pass by them. In general, a transgender person or a person with mental dysphoria is not oblivious to the reality of facts. He or she can tell the difference between the two existing genders, this being one of the main reasons for the conclusion and determination to seek to transition. But how is a transgender person able to absorb sexual value in an alternative way? As specified in the plot, it is a fact that a person can get to the same destination through different paths. In transsexuality, someone has to believe to be able to do the same when it comes to heterosexual sexual value. Further explanation ahead. The transgender confusion and conclusion for solution mentality works the same way the mentality of someone that invents something to the mentality of an inventor. An inventor is a person who thinks about an idea coming or emerging from the thought of being able to capitalize on value existing, discovered, or found. Value that used a certain way can provide utility to fix, improve, or adjust something, bringing a solution or an upgrade to a problem. The purpose of an inventor inventing things is to be able to benefit through utility and or monetary compensation from solving a problem through a new or updated invention. What is an idea? An idea is the underlining or highlighting of a possible conclusion for positive outcomes. An idea comes or emerges from the thought of option or possibility. If or when an inventor believes in the possibility for creation and the probability for great results, the inventor will then decide to try to extract the idea out of his mind or imagination by materializing it out in a physical form, that way making the thought or idea a reality. It's like one of those cartoons where you see the light bulb on top of the head, they're like, and then you just get to it and do it. If or when an invention is completed, depending on positive results or success, the inventor can move on to focus on creating other inventions or go back to perfecting his own invention, adding second or third editions until perfection in it, or getting to the highest peak point of satisfaction developing, perfecting, and getting use or money out of his invention. That or ceasing to invent, depending on investors' will, necessity, and or desire for more satisfaction through beneficial results such utility and monetary compensation or success. Sometimes inventions will not be finished, as many inspired inventions will be dropped during the creating process. Causes of this is usually that the inventor loses interest on it, as the invention seems to be too time consuming, or the inventor finds a different possibility for solution, like finding out there's already a solution available that can replace or dismiss his invention. An inventor can get cold feet going through the building process of investing and possibly ending up losing time and money. It is uncertain what will be the outcome at the end. The chance of results not meeting expectations will mean disappointment. And here we're going to see the similarities between the two mentalities, the mentalities of the inventor and the mentality of the transgender. The similarities between the mentality of an inventor and transsexuality can be observed and be related on each of the steps previously mentioned. At the beginning, just like an inventor, a pre-transgender person thinks about an idea coming or merging emerging from the thought of being able to capitalize on existing, found, or discovered value. I say pre-transgender because it all starts right here. They contemplate the idea and then they go through the process. They might go a little bit, they might not go too much, they go back and forth or leave it behind. The main difference between the two mentalities is the value they believe available to pursue. Transgender people set pursue on gender sexual value. Inventors set pursue on all types of possible available value. In the transgender mentality, the main problem with their idea is having an obstacle between them and the possibility to absorb or having access to sexual value, which, if not addressed, it will mean to let the available sexual value go or pass by them without them accessing it, without them grabbing it, missing out on a possibility. The inventor and the transgender approach to capitalizing on existing, discovered, or found value mostly, if not only, differs as value emerges from different sources. And inventor ideas are usually more based on material development, and the transgender ideas are based more on physical appearance, or more of an organic matter, if you will. As well as the inventor, a to-be transgender believes in the possibility for creation, the probability of great results. Therefore, the to-be or pre-transgender would then also decide to try to extract the idea out of his or her mind. A transgender and an inventor both are people who saw value in an idea and found a way to extract it out of their head in order to get to use it out in reality. Same reasoning, same goal, same concept, different subject. Comparing similar outcomes. If a pre-transgender person during partially transitioning, which is temporary dressing up and temporary taking the role of the opposite gender or cross-dressing, feels good or gets positive results, depending on the pleasant levels of those results, a person with gender dysphoria can repeat the behavior more and more until moving on to deeper pursuit of the behavior. That bringing more changes like names or gender identity and longer episodes of the behavior. This is when they start to change their names, or the pronouns are identifying like a she instead of a he, or a he instead of a she, or just cross-dressing for longer periods of times. Sometimes the idea of transitioning will not be fully taken, as many inspired transgenders would drop the idea of transitioning during the transitioning process. In here, just like the inventor, an inspired transgender person would also drop the idea of transitioning during the process for same or similar causes, usually losing interest on it because doing so seems to be too time consuming. Finding a new hobby or something other to distract or occupy their time with, there's the consideration to acceptance or rejections, the fear of how much their lives will change, the uncertainty of what will be the outcome at the end, and the chance of results not being as good as they thought will be disappointing and possibly embarrassing. A pre-transgender person can go all the way through with the transformation, halfway, a quarter, etc., even ceasing to transform, depending on the behavior satisfying the person's curiosity, confusion, or not, and current feeling results. How do they feel being in this mentality? Do they like it anymore? Is it as interesting as before? Is it what they were expecting? Does it feel odd having to be that way all the time for the rest of their lives or for an indefinite time? Those are all going to be part of the questions in the person before committing to transgenderism or to transsexuality. Do I want it? Do I really want this? How is this going to turn out? Am I ready for people to see me this way? Am I ready to commit? Plans. Lots of times what seems like a very good plan at the time, that plan over time can become distant and cold or not feel like that great of a plan after all. As more or other things come along, things in our lives change and we must deal with those things. So no time or not much room for consideration for previous plans anymore. Lots of times plants are like hot bread. If we don't eat it at the moment, it gets cold and hard, and the bread just doesn't taste the same. We don't eat plants, but the metaphor is that plants can also grow cold and become less attractive the more time we postpone them. The more we postpone our plans, the more likely we are to change our mind about them. That causing us to just leave our plans behind. Getting to pursue a plan has to be when we're in the mood, if you will. This is one of the reasons many people stop pursuing or quit during the process of their plans, dreams, or ideas. Most to-be transgenders change their mind regarding transsexuality as they fear going all the way with something they might not even really truly like that much. Many times, what seems to be a great idea at some point in time might not seem as that good of an idea at some other point in time. So people can change their mind about a subject, an idea, and stand, or whatever it is. Concluding ideas. When it comes to making ideas a reality, it's all about the odds for success that can motivate or discourage someone to pursue or keep on pursuing the aimed outcome. Either go through the process all the way or not, depending on different factors like longevity, stress going through it, the cost, the time consumed, or simply getting over it as they cannot afford investing on it. Got bored, got fed up, person ends up realizing him or her and others can live without the idea just fine. This is usually when the idea doesn't seem to be necessary, as they find other ways to solve the idea's problem. All combined make an idea not seem to be ideal anymore. So leaving the idea behind is less or no longer hurtful. Concluding inventor. Comparing the mentality of a transgender to the mentality of an inventor is very reasonable, as both are pretty similar when it comes to the reasoning process behind the two. Both behaviors, mentalities start in the brain, both start as ideas, both merge due to finding possibility to capitalize on value, both think of their approach practically the same way, both try to bring their ideas out to reality, both go through the same step process when trying to extract a wanted outcome, reward, or prize. Both mentalities are extremely similar, even when the subject is different, the reasoning behind concluding both ideas is not. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right here just to take it by parts. I'm going to make chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6. So what we can get out of this is the concept of how transsexuality works. What is the purpose? What is the mentality? What do they get out of it? And based on this, how they pursue on the behavior and the reason why sometimes they don't go through the behavior all the way, because they either get cold feet or it's just like, I don't want to take a chance for this to be embarrassing. I'm not ready to commit. So therefore they leave it behind. That was chapter 1. Chapter 2 is going to get very intense. We just turned on the car and we're about to get deeper into the subject. So chapter 2, it's called Transsexuality Origins. Here I tell you the origins of transsexuality, and I keep on explaining to you how transsexuality works. Talk to you later.